What's poppin', everybody? Cerebral94. Gonna tell you guys today what, in my opinion, are the top 5 special card prints that we get over the years. And this doesn't include things like the Star Legends and the Shining Pokemon from the Neo sets and stuff. I'm talking about things like EXs, GXs we have right now, the Level X Pokemon, Primes, these special Pokemon cards that are kind of like the trademark, the face of every era. So for number 5, I'm going to go with Mega Evolution Pokemon. So Mega Evolution, or as I like to call them, Megaform Pokemon, they were they were a nice concept, kind of original, something we didn't exactly see before. You evolve your EX Pokemon into a Mega Evolution Pokemon, has a lot more HP, more broken attacks, and then you have to skip your turn. And then they introduced the Spirit Links, so you kind of have to waste some space in your deck to put the Spirit Link so that if you want to evolve them, you don't lose your turn. It was a cool thing, something we didn't exactly see before, kind of original. The reason that they're so low on this list is because, while it's good, it's not the best, and the art isn't that great. I really don't like the art on the cards with the giant letters, giant words, and lightning bolts around and shit. They don't really look that good. The full arts and the regular cards. Some are worse than others, but they just don't look that good. Playability wise, I guess they were okay. Some of them worked. For me, Primal Kyogre, even though that's a primal version, it's basically the same thing, was kind of good. Other Pokemon like Mega Manectric were okay. Maybe Mega Gengar. But anyway, so that's number 5. Next up, we're going to go with the black and white EXs, the EXs that are kind of closer to us than the original EXs. Not the original ones, the one in black and white, the big basic HP EXs. They're at number 4. They're based on the OG EXs, so no matter what, they're going to be kind of cool. But they weren't executed nicely. In my opinion, they should have released them with less HP. But I suppose when they released things like the Reshiram and Zekrom with 130 HP, they kind of screwed themselves over anyway. But yeah, they should have had less HP, like let's say 150, max 160 HP, the biggest motherfuckers, let's say 140 HP EXs, so that they could have competed, be on the same league with the Stage 2 Pokemon, because Stage 2 Pokemon just could not see play against these big ass EXs, too fast, too big. Even things like Empoleon couldn't do shit. The fact that they came back as basics, only basics, normally would be bad, compared to the original ones. Why should they only be just basic Pokemon? But, it was a nice change. It's something different because this way we can have Stage 2 Pokemon as basics, makes things a little interesting. And I guess they had to do it because since they brought in the first place the Mega Evolution Pokemon, they kind of had to do that, so I can't fault them too much for that. The problem is the HP, I feel like. So number 4, EX Pokemon, and one of the other great things about them is the full arts look really nice. They have some of the best artwork. You get the full art EXs, some of them look great. Others, maybe the regular form looks better, but they're downright some of the most prettiest cards we get. And for number 3, I'm going with GXs. GXs are just basically cool. That's it. They're like the original EXs from the 3rd generation. The only difference is you get the special GX attack, and it's another nice original concept. That's pretty good. Makes things interesting. You can only use one GX attack per game. You can have a bunch of Pokemon with GX attacks in your deck, and maybe you use one, maybe you use another one, depending on the situation. Maybe you'll be forced to use one when some of your guys died, and it's something pretty interesting. I think it's something pretty cool. It's basically the original EXs, like I've said, where you can have Stage 1 GXs and Stage 2 GXs. They have a lot more HP, and they give 2 prizes when they die, but they're better because you have the GX attack too. So pretty nice. One of the annoying things is that I still don't know what the GX stands for. I've searched around in the Amino and in other places. Nobody seems to know what it stands for. EX stands for extra, but GX, I don't know what the fuck it stands for. When it comes to art, the cards they're okay. The full art ones, they're not that impressive if you ask me, where they just have a font depending on the type. Let's say for fire Pokemon is red, for blue Pokemon is blue, light blue, and then for dragons is that sort of green beige thing, whatever the fuck. Doesn't look good. And you get the full art card there. It's okay, but the full arts from Black and White and X and Y, I feel like they were better, much higher quality. But nevertheless, number 3 is GXs. Okay, so for number 2, it's obviously going to be Level X Pokemon, Level X's. These Pokemon, trademark of DP and Platinum, they're honestly great. Another pretty original, nice thing. They have a bunch of rules that make them kind of interesting. With the Level X Pokemon, it counts as the name of your Stage 2 Pokemon or the Pokemon that it evolves to. So for example, if you have Electivire level X, it counts as an Electivire. So you can't have 4 Electivire and an Electivire level X. So you kind of have to be careful how you want to make your deck, how many level X's you want to run, how many of the regular form you want to run. So that's cool. But they're interesting in that they level up, you evolve them on the Pokemon that you already have. It's not an evolution or just a basic form like the EXs. So you put it on top of Electivire and shit. And they only give one prize, but it's the level X, level 100 it's supposed to be. They can use moves and abilities from the previous form, so that makes things pretty interesting. It becomes like an add-on sort of thing. So I thought it was pretty cool. Something else that was pretty original. There's a lot of things that you can do, of course, and just the rules make it interesting. It's not like super easy. It's not like super free. You have some limitations, like I've said with the number of cards, but it was an original thing, pretty cool. The holographic art and the art on the cards is very nice, so that's another pretty good thing. And that's all I have to say. It's one of the better concepts, very original, very interesting. Makes a lot of combos when you can use the abilities and attacks from the previous form. Just all around excellent. And for number 1, obviously, there's no comparison. It was going to be this one. The original EXs from the EX era, 3rd generation, Golden Age. It wasn't going to be anybody but them. They're the ones that kind of started the special Pokemon card thing when Nintendo took over, and they kind of remade the game, you could say, from Wizards of the Coast, and they introduced these Pokemon. It's honestly just perfect. EX Pokemon, super original concept. You got the Pokemon that are a little better, kind of better, and they give 2 prizes. And there were basic Pokemon, and there were Stage 1 and Stage 2 Pokemon. And the great thing is that in that era, those EXs, they were just right. They were broken, but at the same time, they were balanced. For example, when the Black and White EXs came out, they were kind of like the best shit. You had to run those. Stage Pokemon couldn't compete. But in the EX era, you know, they were broken, but Stage 2 Pokemon could have been used. If you look at all the variety of decks, EX Pokemon were kind of used as they were meant to be. Like, you would only run maybe a couple in your deck, unless your deck really focused on it. So for example, the Blaziken EX deck, the focus was on Blaziken EX, and Rayquaza was kind of like the guy you were going to run in the end, because even though 100 HP was better than the other basic Pokemon as an EX, it wasn't super broken, it wasn't super hot. You know, and other decks that ran Stage 2 Pokemon like Flygon, maybe they would use a Flygon EX as a tech, and sort of your last guy around. So kind of like how they were meant to be, I feel like. Since they were rarer, you run a couple in your deck, or you run a deck that's focused on a specific EX, but you don't run like 10 EXs in a deck. Kind of like what happened with the Black and White era, and the game got centered around them basically. It was just balanced. It was great. It was perfect. They're the most perfect concept that we had. They were so good. You know, they remade them in Black and White Pokemon EXs, and they kind of screwed them over being basic, but they had their things too, I guess. They did that so they would get Mega Evolution Pokemon. But I still stand by the HP, and they executed them kind of poorly. But the original EX Pokemon are definitely the best. So the other 3 card types that I didn't mention, it's basically just 3. There are the primes, the legend cards, and the breaks. So breaks, I don't like them at all, to be honest. It's basically like the level X Pokemon, just with uglier art. They just have to be golden. You have some flexibilities in that you can evolve them on the bench, but that's basically it. The rest of the rules are kind of like the same, I guess. And the way the layout is. You can put them horizontally, that's kind of cool, but the art just kills them for me. Just golden, nothing else. Golden card. They didn't look good at all. They didn't do much of shit either. I guess if you think about something like Greninja Break and Xerneas Break maybe, but they didn't really do shit. And then we got Legends. Legends are actually nice in the sense that they're the kind of like the original cards that brought in the full art. More focus on art and really good looking cards, high quality art cards. And that's great. But the idea of bringing two cards, you got to bring them together, play them on the bench, and then there's all these other rulings and stuff around them. And they were kind of shit, with a few exceptions like Deoxys, Rayquaza Deoxys, and Entei Raikou, but they weren't really that great in my opinion. The art is the best thing about them, the collectability value. And then we got primes. Primes are pretty good. Primes would have been at number 4 maybe because they're not really, they're special cards in that they're primes. We know what they're primes, but they're kind of simple. It's just they keep the tradition of, you know, the regular cards exist, like the regular Donphan, let's say, but the Donphan Prime is rarer and more powerful. Kind of makes sense. So that's kind of cool. I dig that. But at the same time, they don't have anything else going for them. They were great. They were broken, but they're not really special. They're just regular Stage 2, Stage 1 Pokemon, or just regular basic Prime Pokemon. So Mega Evolution had to take the spot for that. It's a better concept, more original. Your turn ends and shit, all that stuff. But anyway, so these are the special card prints. Like I've said, things like the Star cards, Prism cards, the Ace specs, all that stuff, they don't count. They're different types of cards. I'm talking about the trademark Pokemon cards for each era, the face of each era, like the EX Pokemon were in 3rd gen, the level X's for the DP. You got Mega Evolutions for X and Y, although they weren't really that great. But yeah, just my thoughts. Just a non-scripted video I thought to make. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys subscribe. Leave a like. Share this with your friends. Say Bro94. What's up?